The Ivy Lee method, the daily routine experts recommend for peak productivity. Written by James Clear, Decision Making, Minimalism, Procrastination, Productivity. By 1918, Charles M. Schwab was one of the richest men in the world. Schwab was the president of Bethlehem Steel Corporation and the largest shipbuilder and the second largest steel producer in America at the time. The famous inventor Thomas Edison was once referred to as Schwab, as the master hustler. He was constantly seeking an edge over the competition. One day, in 1918, in his quest to increase the efficiency of his team and discover better ways to get things done, Schwab arranged a meeting with a highly respected productivity consultant named Ivy Lee. Lee was successful. Lee was the successful businessman in his own right and is widely remembered as the pioneer in the field of public relations. As the story goes, Schwab brought Lee into his office and said, "Show me a way to get more things done." "Give me 15 minutes of each of your executive," Lee replied. "How much will it cost?" Schwab asked. "Nothing," Lee said. "Unless it works, after 3 months you can send me a check for whatever you feel it's worth to you." Now we talk about the Ivy Lee method. During his 15-minute with each executive, Ivy Lee explained his simple daily routine for achieving peak productivity. At the end of each day, at the end of each workday, write down the 6 most important things you need to accomplish tomorrow. Do not write down more than 6 tasks. Actually, in my opinion, doing this is the most difficult task. And after that is following whatever you have written. But still will go. I'll read again. The first thing was, at the end of each workday, write down the 6 most important things you need to accomplish tomorrow. Do not write uh, more than 6 tasks. Prioritize these 6 items in order of their true importance. When you arrive tomorrow, concentrate only on the first task. Work until the first task is finished before moving on to the second task. Approach the rest of your list in the same fashion. At the end of the day, move any unfinished item to a new list of 6 tasks, six tasks for the following day. Repeat repeat this process every day. The strategy sounded simple, but Schwab and his executive team at Bethlehem gave it a try. After 3 months, Schwab was so delighted with the progress his company has made that he called Lee into his office and wrote him a check for $25,000. $25,000 check written in 1918 is equivalent of 400,000 check in 2015. The Ivy Lee method of prioritizing your to-do list seems stupidly simple. How could something this simple be worth so much? What makes it so effective? On managing priorities well, Ivy Lee productivity methods utilizes many of the concepts I have written about previously. Now, here goes the James Clear's thoughts. Here's what makes it so effective. It's simple. It's simple enough to actually work. The primary critique of methods like this one is that they are too basic. They don't account for all of the complexities and the nuances of life. What happens is, if an emergency pops up, what about using the latest technology to our fullest advantage? In my experience, complexity is often a weakness because it makes it harder to get back on track. Yes, emergencies and unexpected distractions will arise. Ignore them as much as possible, deal with them when you must, and get back to your prioritized to do list as soon as possible. Use simple rules to guide complex behavior. It forces you to take tough decisions. I don't believe there is anything special about Ivy Lee's number six important number of Lee's number of six important tasks per day. It could just as easily be five tasks per day. However, I do think there is something magical about imposing limits upon yourself. I find that the single best thing to do when you have too many ideas or when you are overwhelmed by everything you need to get done is to prune your ideas and trim away everything that isn't absolutely necessary. Constraints can make you better. Lee's method is similar to Warren Buffett's 25 by 5 rule, which requires you to focus on just 5 critical tasks and ignore everything else. Basically, if you commit to nothing, you will be distracted by everything. It removes the friction of starting. The biggest hurdle to finishing most tasks is starting them. Getting off the couch can be tough, but once you actually start running, it is much easier to finish your workout. Lee's method forces you to decide on your first task the night before you go to work. The strategy has been incredibly useful for me. As a writer, I can waste 3 or 4 hours debating what I should write about on a given day. If I decide the night before, however, I can wake up and start writing immediately. It's simple, but it works. In the beginning, getting started is just as important as succeeding at all. It requires you to single task. Modern society loves multitasking. The myth of multitasking is that being busy is synonymous with being better. The exact opposite of true is true. However, fewer priorities leads to better work. Study world class experts in nearly any field athletes, artists, scientists, teachers, CEOs, and you will discover one characteristic runs through all of them: focus. The reason is simple: you can't be great at one task if you are constantly dividing your time 10 different ways. Mastery requires focus and consistency. The bottom line: do the most important thing first each day. It's the only productivity trick you need. If you want to learn more about the routines and habits of Olympic gold medalists, award winning artists, business leaders, life saving physicians, and start comedians, check out my book, Atomic Habit. Do read his book, Atomic Habit. So, the author whose article I just read, James Clear. It's an awesome book. So I didn't read it, but I listened to it on Audible. Okay, so thanks for reading. You can get more actionable ideas in my popular email letter. Each week, I share three short ideas for me, two quotes from others, and one question to think about. Over 1 million people subscribe. Enter your email and join us. Okay, thank you. So the article was Ivy Lee method, the daily routine experts recommend for peak productivity. Thank you.